Today we mark a somber anniversary, 1,000 days since the invasion of war criminal Putin's full-scale entry into the country of Ukraine. Every Ukrainian remembers that night very clearly. War criminal Putin told his troops the Ukrainians would welcome them. The West underestimated the resolve of the courageous people of Ukraine. Estimating that Kyiv would fall in days, Kyiv stands today and will stand until the end of history because of the Ukraine is strong. And let us be clear, support for Ukraine will always be bipartisan, and I am grateful to stand with my friends and colleagues across the aisle in support of freedom, life, and liberty for the people of Ukraine. And it's not just bipartisan. When members of the Senate arrive, you're going to find out it's bicameral too, which is truly remarkable. The invasion did not begin on February 24, 2022, or even March 2014. On December 5, 1994, with the signing of the Budapest Memorandum, independent Ukraine denuclearized, removing its number one deterrent voluntarily in exchange for guarantees by Russia, the United States, and United Kingdom of sovereign borders and independence. Ukraine lived up to its commitments. The guarantors have shamefully failed to defend territorial integrity. When Russia invaded for the first time under the Obama administration in 2014, the Western response was insufficient in condemning the illegal occupation of Transnistria of Moldova, just as in 2008 when Russia invaded the nation of Georgia, and when war criminal Putin propped up mass murderer Bashar al-Assad in the still ongoing slaughter of millions of Syrians. We have crossed so many red lines at this point, we can no longer see them, but dictators with rule of gun are playing the long game. Following the Biden-Harris surrender from Afghanistan, war criminal Putin saw an opportunity to do what he had prepared through his massacres in Syria, with the backing of Tehran, Beijing, Damascus, and Pyongyang. He put in motion the full-scale invasion of Ukraine to reassemble the failed Soviet Union, directly threatening NATO members of Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia. His fake claims of blocking borders with NATO countries were an excuse to invade Ukraine and fake news. It has nothing to do with NATO being bordering the Russian Federation. Sadly, unfounded escalation fears have thus prevented victory from becoming a reality. Unprecedented restrictions that should have never been applied to an ally have led tragically to countless Ukrainian deaths and have put the world in greater danger than ever before. I look forward to working with President Donald Trump to rebuild the deterrence that the Biden-Harris regime has squandered and to end this one-sided war, one with Ukrainian sovereign borders, recognizing that it was President Trump who put the Javelin missiles in Ukraine to block an invasion. It was Donald Trump who put American troops in Poland for the first time in history to block war criminal Putin. It was Donald Trump that stopped Nord Stream 2 to stop the financing by war criminal Putin. As we've seen repeatedly, war criminal Putin adheres to no international standards, agreements, or treaties. Putin will always lie, and he's already lied to President-elect Donald Trump, who, in good faith and a genuine concern for peace, asked him to not further escalate the war. War criminal Putin followed this request with the largest salvo of attacks on Ukrainian civilian targets of homes and utility infrastructure in many months, with 200 missiles and drones. The only way to deter Putin is with strength. When the United States hesitates, Russia escalates with the addition of commanding additional North Korean mercenaries, thousands of mercenaries into the region. Today's grim milestone represents a threat to all American families. Putin has made clear he has no intention of stopping at Ukraine. In fact, Putin's army of thugs are wearing patches depicting the hammer and sickle over Alaska, the state of Alaska. Putin has his eyes on all former Soviet republics, including Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, of NATO membership. Ukrainians are defending their country with incredible bravery in spite of limited resources and arbitrary constraints. Peace through strength is ensuring that Ukraine can strike legitimate military targets within Russia, which is the launch sites, to protect the people from further attack, providing real, meaningful security guarantees not only for Ukraine's benefit, but to protect the rest of the world from the advance of dictatorial aggression. These are challenging times for Ukraine on the battlefield. I know that the witnesses today will highlight the urgency of giving Ukraine what it needs to defeat war criminal Putin, not just freeze the war in place. Ultimately, we cannot ask Ukraine to weather another 1,000 days without using all the tools at disposal. First, we're honored to welcome His Excellency Andrei Sybiha, the Foreign Minister of Ukraine. Then we hear from Dr. Hanna Hopko, former chairwoman of the Ukrainian Rada's Foreign Affairs Committee and co-founder of the International Center for Ukrainian Victory. Next, we hear from Maria Kucherinka, the head of the Russia Studies at the Come Back Alive Foundation. And then we are grateful to have Dr. Andrew Mikta, the director and senior fellow at Atlantic Council's Scowcroft Geostrategy Initiative. With this, I turn to immediately my co-chair, Steve Cohen, for any remarks, after which we will also be hearing a pre-recorded video from President Vladimir Zelensky before returning to to the Foreign Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have brief remarks, but I'd like to recognize Speaker Emeritus Pelosi, who has joined us. And if you'd like to make any remarks, I'd be glad to yield you some time. No, he's not a Republican. He's Commerce Department.
Why don't we do this? I came to listen, to learn. Thank you. Thank you so much, Congressman Cohen, and for your leadership on the Helsinki Commission, and to you, Chairman Wilson. We've worked together on this. How many times have we shared the pen, one version or another? We have learned so much from the people of Ukraine about courage, about respect for democracy, and their protection of their democracy is a protection of democracy everywhere. I have been particularly interested in what has happened to women and children in Ukraine, acts of horror that the First Lady of Ukraine has come and spoken to us about here. So in terms of what it means to the people, what it means to the principle of democracy, we're very eager to hear the status of things today, but also to sing the praises of the people of Ukraine and the leadership of Ukraine for your courage, for the courage and the example to the world. I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Emeritus.